I'm sorry, you have reached the most honest video about this topic in all YouTube. I understand that you wanna be the best programmer out there and you have found tons of videos talking dreams about programming. However, the reality is way too far from that. I have been a game developer for the past 4 years and I will share with you 4 truths about programming that will help you get a better idea of what it's really about. The point of the video isn't to discourage you, but to give you transparent ideas about this area that you may not have considered so that you can overcome them better when you have to. Now, let's start. 1. Programming will affect your health. It will actually affect both health aspects, both physical health and mental health. As programmers, we're gonna be all day literally sit up in front of our monitor coding some stuff, so of course our physical health will be affected a lot. So here you have 3 ways of actually overcoming this that actually won't really affect you negatively in your programming performance. The first way of overcoming this would be to do regular exercise, such as just working out in a gym, starting calisthenics that you can do directly in your home, or even just running, okay? Basically something that will get your body moving, that you will be able to burn some calories that you aren't gonna be able to burn. For example, if you are all the day in your home, because maybe sometimes we even work remote all the time, so we don't even have to walk to the office or something like that. So really just running or something like that can really have an impact, a positive impact on our health. Then the second option would be to do some sport that you like, I don't know, football, rugby, etc. Again, it has the same aim, just burning some calories, doing some cardio, that will help you a lot with this. And doing a sport has the plus of that it will actually be easier for you to be more disciplined, because you will actually have fun doing it. And finally, the last option that you may have, that is a little bit expensive, but if you have the resources to do it, it would be amazing, would be working in a standing desk. Basically, a standing desk is a desk that maybe you can move because it has some kind of engine incorporated, and you can move up or down so that you are gonna be able to work both sit up and also standing, okay? So this will allow you to have a better posture with your back. And even there are some standing desks that also come with a walking machine, so you can both be working and burning calories at the same time. Then on the other hand, it can have a bad impact on your mental health, because again, we are all the time in our room, completely alone, working in front of a monitor, so it is completely understandable that we may start compromising our mental health, because also other aspect is the fact that, well, we may not get a lot of socialization. So the main solution here is to take breaks when you need. Basically, you can, for example, work for a complete hour with no distractions and then take a 5 or 10 minutes break. And then it's also good to start socializing with other people, maybe try to go out at least 1 or 2 times a week, so that you actually start socializing with other people. The key point here is that the better health that you have, the actual better performance you will have. Again, I understand that as programmers we want to get the most of our hours, that maybe we want to work even more in our personal projects or something like that, so that's why we may even start compromising our health. But trust me, in the long term your health is gonna be much more important than your actual job, so make sure that you are correctly balancing them. 2. Programming is a skill. You have to think programming as if it were like learning an instrument. At the beginning it's going to be super difficult. If you wanna learn how to play the guitar, at first it's gonna be super complicated, you won't really understand how to play the different notes. If you want to play a complete piece of music, it's gonna be mostly impossible. But anyway, you have to keep pushing. If you don't push, you won't learn. And that is the exact same thing that happens with programming. You will have to start creating some projects. You can start by just creating something quite simple, following a step-by-step tutorial, and basically just copying everything that the instructor does on your end, and then at the end trying to include some unique features with either other tutorial that you watch or with other something that you may learn. For example, if you are creating a game that includes player movement, you can create a system that in the game it allows you to increase or decrease the speed. Of course, this is just an example, but this is just for you to understand correctly what I mean. Coming back again to the guitar example, when you start playing the guitar, for example, you will realize a lot of changes in your fingers, okay? Basically, probably your fingers will be affected at the beginning, but then as time goes by and you practice and practice more, your fingers will start having some positive changes, okay, that will allow you to play even better the guitar. And with programming, it's gonna be the exact same thing. It will start being super difficult, but then you will start understanding the logic behind it, how to create systems better, more efficiently, etc. So it's just a matter of keeping pushing. And again, keeping pushing not only means to watch tutorials, but also to practice literally everything that you are learning. 3. Programming is more about practice than theories. This is super connected to the previous point about theories versus practice. Even though theory is key, practice will always help you learn faster and even more efficiently. So of course you still have to learn the theory of game development, you will still have to read the different documentations or to have some more theoretical lessons, okay? But you don't really have to just keep yourself with the theory, but also you will have to practice everything that you are learning. Because programming is, I would say that one of the most practical subjects that exist, so you will really have to practice and create a lot of different projects, because in programming they will not ask you for specific concepts but how to actually apply them. For example, if you are in the middle of an interview, they won't really ask you, for example, what a variable is, but they will tell you, okay, for example, in which cases would you use a variable in some type of specific game? Or basically not in an interview, but when you are creating a game, you aren't gonna be directly applying the theory about what a variable is, how the code runs, how the program is able to debug the code, etc. You're actually gonna be applying everything that you know. For example, let's say that you're programming a health system, and of course that you have to store the health, you're gonna be storing that value in a variable. Okay, that's perfect, that's gonna be working perfectly. But at the moment of, for example, declaring that variable, you will need to have the theory about how to actually create the variable in the specific programming language that you're using. However, you won't really need the theory about how the program can store a variable inside of the game. Basically, you will need a much more general theory than in other areas, so for example in physics or literally any other area. You will really need to have all the deepest theory possible in order to actually work in something. In programming, it is much more about practice, it is much more about demonstrating something that is playable than just being a book with a bunch of theories. Instead of being a book, what you have to be is a video console that can show and play different type of games. Programming logic is key. I understand that maybe when you started programming, I mean you have watched some kind of basis of programming logic course, maybe it was a little bit complicated because there was a lot of theory, but well, that theory, the programming logic is actually the most important thing. The programming logic will allow you to adapt quickly to a lot of different programming languages, softwares, technologies, etc. For example, taking again the example of variables. Maybe you are able to declare a variable in Python, but you aren't able to create a variable in C#. But if you do understand what a variable is, in what cases you have to use a variable, and the structure that they follow, basically they usually have a keyword that declares that the variable is being declared, then they are usually followed by the name of the variable, and finally they have some kind of value assigned. So if you do know the structure that they follow, it's gonna be much easier to understand it in different programming languages, because basically the only thing that you will have to do is to look for the syntax, okay? Basically the syntax in programming are the different rules of the specific programming language in order, for example, to declare variables, functions, etc. So the only thing left, if you do understand programming logic, for example in declaring variables in different programming languages, would be to just take a super quick look actually at the documentation of that programming language. And here what you do have to understand is that a solid basis make the process of learning much more easier. Not only the process of learning, but also the process of actually creating something. Because if you do understand programming logic, you will be able to code much faster and you will be able to create much more efficient systems. Basically, you have to build a strong base for your table, that then on top of your table you will have all your projects and programming languages. By understanding correctly the programming logic, not only you will have the possibility of learning easily different programming languages, but also you will understand much deeper, much better, and with much more efficiency the programming language that maybe you are using at the moment. So it's all a balance about having a good amount of theory, but just the basis of theory of programming logic and for other topics that are important, And then when you do have a very strong basis, then you can start applying all that in a variety of different projects. So this is all for today's video. I hope that all the information here was useful for you. If it was, please consider subscribing and liking the video as well, because this will really help the video get to more people and probably help them as well. Again, the point here isn't to actually discourage you in your game development journey. The main aim of the video is just to show you some truths, some things that maybe aren't told in a lot of videos, but well, here I show them due to the fact that eventually you will have to overcome them. So here not only did I told you the specific problems that you will have to overcome, but also the solution in order to solve them properly. So I hope we can see together in the next video. So I hope you have an amazing day. Bye bye.